it's so precarious because if I hadn't happened to find that in that particular file, if you hadn't brought your decades of experience and said, oh, that's not just this flat thing that two professional surveys before hadn't seen. It's so precarious that this could have been found. It's a miracle.
It is a miracle. I'm so I'm so happy to be part of that miracle, and I'm so sorry that it led to that desecration. Something's not connected.
It also, I think, strengthens my generation. I'm a Sansei. I'm my grandparents were immigrants. My parents were the first generation to be born here. And I feel it really strengthens my sense of connection to that immigrant generation and the spirit that maybe we didn't really understand or we had no evidence of it in this way. And so it's interesting because there might be other signs of resistance and evidence, such as an underground dark room or basements that people carved under the barrack to stay cool in the summer. But to actually have this archaeological artifact be a purposeful memorial to someone who was killed, murdered by the government, and then covered up by the forced to be covered up
Yeah.
has just a lot more meaning. I'm not sure there's anything like that. And somebody has said that a historian said, if this is true, this is probably the most important archaeological find in all the camps. Is that your assessment?
Oh gosh, I don't know what to say to that, Nancy. It it had a lot of meaning for us, but it's for the community to decide. I think I think that maybe it's true if the community recognizes it as a symbol of murder, brutality, and resistance. It's got a lot embedded in it, doesn't it?
Racial violence.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. That's a very excellent point, Gary.
Where do you put this in your long career in terms of just the personal, the professional, the emotional impact of finding this? And also, frankly, the controversy that's ensued. I mean, it's been quite a journey for you.
Working with the Japanese American community is definitely a highlight of my career. Finding something so meaningful to them is so gratifying because I think I want to be in service of that, in service of remembering what happened, and in service of civil rights. It's very much an honor to be able to use archaeology as a way to further civil rights. I think I got into it because I wanted to work outside, but to be able to think that you might be uncovering truth and fighting for justice, that is such an honor. And it only happens because the Japanese American community recognizes the importance of the work. And that's because they know the importance of the place. We're just documenting what's left at the places. So it is very, very much important. I have mixed feelings though, because of the way the museum removed the rock. If we had known that was going to happen, we would have just gone out there and sat on it. I mean, we wouldn't. Okay, that would be disrespectful sitting on it, but we would have stood in front of the forklift, right? Because I'm not sure. It just seems like that part of this has been one of the worst experiences of my career. The fact that it's something we we thought had such an importance and symbolism was taken that way.
And what you're saying makes me think also of our Japanese American, Asian American connection to the way that ancestral land is treated or traditionally has been treated in our history. And I'm thinking that one person said the people who did this don't have the same feeling towards the land, ancestral land, as, say, the Native Americans do, which we also appreciate. And I was thinking of the Tulsa race massacre, which occurred in Oklahoma in 1923, and how 1920, anyway, and how the graves are being exhumed very carefully. But the land holds so many tragic stories, and so I'm really looking at our history and the land and how people have suffered and how people of color also share this history of having reverence for what happened, not knowing what happened, and trying to learn the truth. What kind of process do you think would be one that could help repair or at least address what's been done?
Oh, Nancy, that's not for me to say. I believe that would be for the community. I hope, I mean, Jeff and I don't care if we're blamed for anything as long as the community can heal. Topaz Museum has done a lot of good. And so I don't want, I mean, I don't want this to be glossed over, but I don't want it to be in the way of healing. I hope that there are more people at the 80th anniversary of his death than there were at his funeral. That's more than 2,000 people. Oh, what a pleasure to see you and talk to you, even though it made me cry.
Thank you, Mary. We owe so much to you and archaeology, which is bringing our history alive for us.
Yeah, we've worked on older sites and more glamorous sites, but there are no sites as important, as heartfelt as the incarceration sites to us. So thank you. Thanks for sharing your map and those documents too.
Mary, I can't thank you enough for today. I mean, I learned so much. Mm-hmm. And, email just doesn't do it.
You're right about that. Yeah, I did too. I have learned a lot today too. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. It's quite an honor.
Please give our best to Jeff.
Okay, I will.